morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am Prophet Kiana with a Bible teaching. Today's Bible teaching is titled Purim 5786 Festival. Purim 5786 Festival. So, Holy Spirit, allow me to be able to be led through, to be released what was spoken and given to me as I was seeking the word, to be able to release this message again, to allow me to be filled with all truth, to allow it to be unleashed how it needs to be unleashed, and this message delivered how it needs to be delivered. Guide me, so I'm sure from the beginning to end. What's up, everybody? So, I began to receive a revelation of this message. And so Purim began today at sundown, which is the 13th of the Jewish calendar. And so, in the month of Adar. So, Purim began sundown today until nightfall on March 3rd, 2026. And it is a dry fast. And so, I will be in the book of Esther, chapter 9. And on the 13th day of the 12th month. So, on this day, that you will have to go look, allowing us to know what day that this particular thing will take place. On the 13th day of the 12th month, the month of Adar. So, goes in to show us what month. And to find out what day does 13th day fall on, you have to go on the Jewish calendar. The edit. Edit means a proclamation having the force of law. Commanded by the king was to be carried out. Carry out means to carry in modern Hebrew, to take up, to bear, to transport from one place to another. So this is needed to be done to being able to be put out. Transported to a place. And so goes to show us that the king is the one who can release something to be done, to be able to given, to be released. On this day, the enemies of the Jews had hoped to overpower them. So it goes to show us that on this day, that the enemies is going to think that they can do something, thinking they will be able to do their plots, their schemes, their attack, thinking that they can overpower them. But now the tables were turned and the Jews got the upper hand. So now the roles have reversed, where the enemy is not able to attack you anymore. Goes to show us that the enemy will not be able to attack you anymore, will never be able to plot against you again, because now you have the upper hand, because you're connected to who you're connected to. Over those who hated them. Goes to show who you will have power over. Your enemies. The Jews assembled. Assemble is a gathering or congregation used to worship. So, goes to show us that it will be a gathering of the Jews coming together in their cities and all the promises of King Xerxes to attack those determined to destroy them. Goes to show us what will take place on this day. No one could stand against them because the people of all the other nationalities were afraid of them. So goes to show that people will be afraid of you because of who you are, who you're connected to, and who has given you power. over your enemies. And all the nobles of the province, the satraps, the governors, and the king's administrators helped the Jews. So, goes to show that you will be helped through your attacks, through your battles, through this reversing of the plots against you. Because fear of Mordecai has seized them. Goes to show that you will be helped of the roles being reversed. Who will help you? What would happen? Mordecai was prominent in the palace. Mordecai was prominent in the palace. His reputation spread throughout the provinces, and he became more and more powerful. So, goes to show that people will hear about who you are, what you have done. It will be spreaded around messages about you. So it goes to let us know when you are in a position, a place that things about you will be spread around and talked about who you are and what they have heard about you. The Jews struck down all their enemies with the sword, killing and destroying them. So it goes to show that you'll have rest from your enemies because you are able to triumph over your enemies and are in control. And they did what they pleased to those who hated them. Goes to show that you able to have the authority and power over your enemies to trample over snakes and scorpions, overcome all power of the enemy. In the city of Susa, the Jews killed and destroyed 500 men. So it will be a report of what have happened, what have taken place, what have been done to your enemies. They also killed Prashadatha, Dathan, Espatha, Paratha, Adelia, Eradatha, Pramashta, Asa, Adai, and Vazatha, the 10 sons of Haman, son of Hammedatha, the enemy of the Jews. So it goes to show in more detail what would happen to your enemies, who will be attacked, what would happen to them. But they did not lay their hands on the plunder. So, plunder means refers to the act of seizing goods, typically during time of war or conflict. So do not take any goods from your enemies. Those will show us what needs to not be done with your enemy's plunder. The number of those killed in the city of Susa was reported to the king that same day. So, goes to show us that it needs to be reported what has been done, what has been taking place. The king said to Queen Esther, so goes to show that the king and the queen is holding a conversation. The Jews have killed and destroyed 500 men and 10 sons of Haman in the city of Susa, allowing us to know that the queen goes back to report what has been done, what has taken place to the king. So the queen is only able to communicate and talk with the king and allow him to know what has been done, what you have done, what has taken place. Needs to be reported to the king whatever has been done, what has been taken place, what happened. What have they done in the rest of the king's promises? And so you're able to see that you're able to communicate with the king when you are in a position of place as a queen, that you are able to communicate with the king. Now, what is your petition? Now, the king is asking the queen, what is your petition? It will be given you. Petition means a specific form of request or earnest plea. So, you're able to ask of something specific from the king because he has asked you. What is your request? Request means the act of humbly asking for, seeking for. Now he's asking her something else. To be able to receive. It will also be granted. Granted means awarded. So, when you're in a position or a place and you're connected to the king, and you're in great standing with the king, that you will be able to receive things, permission to do things when you are in a position as a queen, as well as to be able to communicate and talk with the king, and to being able to release what has been done, what has been taking place, what has been released. To report back to the king. If it please the king, Esther answered, give the jewels and Susa permission to carry out this day at it, tomorrow also. So, on the 14th as well, which is the month of Adar on the Jewish count, which is tomorrow, the same thing will be taking place. A battle, a fight, worlds being reversed. Attack no longer on the Jewish people, but on the enemy of the Jews, people who were against God's people. And let Haman's 10 sons be impaled on the pole. So, because of Esther, knew exactly what she wanted to be done, and she requested, she made her petition and her request for what she wanted to be done, and so she received what she wanted to be done. So the king commanded that this be done, exactly what she has requested in her petition to be done. An edict was issued in Susa, and they impaled the 10 sons of Haman. So because of what she has, came back and asked the king to be done, her as a petition and her request, that she received it. The Jews of Susa came together on the 14th day of the month of Adar, and they put to death in Susa 500 men, 300 men. So it goes to show us that is a report of what has taken place. After the king has already granted her petition and her request to be done until the 10 sons of Haman. But they did not lay their hands on the plunder. So on the 14th, no laying hands upon it, allowing us to know what needs to not to be done, but allowing us to know what take place on this day in the 14th of Adar. Meanwhile, the remainder of the Jews who were in the king's province also assembled to protect themselves and get relief from their enemies. So, Goes to show us that a report of what had occurred in the other provinces of the kings, and how the Jews gathered together to come against their enemies. So there'll be protection, coverage as you go against your enemies. They killed 75,000 of them, but did not lay their hands on the plunder. So goes in to allow us to know that a report be given of what had happened, what occurred, and what happened to the enemies. This happened on the 13th day of the month of Adar, and on the 14th they rested and made it a day of feast and joy. This happened on the 13th day of the month of Adar, and on the 14th they rested and made it a day of feast and joy. So it goes into the allow us to know what happened, what day, what month, and what they did after the battle was over on the 14th. They rested and made it a day of feasting and joy. And so, this is about roles being reversed. This is about reports. This is about not touching your enemy's plans, to know what needs to be done, what needs not to be done, to being able to be able to know what needs to not be done on this day, what take place on this day, as well as who put out the edit, whatever the king says, that's what it is, and allow you to know that the king and queen communicates with one another, and to be able to ask of things from the king, and to being able to have permission, or to being able to receive petition and requests for things to be done that you asked for. So I don't know who needs to hear this message, but Spirit allowed to go forth still will.